got the polycarbonate windows installed and they look great. So here's what it looks like. Check this out. Shuts so nice, and this thing just covers it all. So really stoked on the way that came out. Passenger side and driver's side are installed. Awesome. It's definitely nice and cozy in there now, but the doors are still bare, so we got to get cracking on that. Here's some nice vinyl, some 3M vinyl that 702 Graphics printed for me. 702 Graphics is out of Las Vegas, and they've been wrapping my car for many years, actually. Since Pro-Am days, they've been putting graphics on my car, so I've stuck with them for a long time. They're a great company to work with, and lately I've gotten a little more comfortable with putting graphics on my car myself, so I just have them ship the printed vinyl. What we actually did is, after we painted the rear quarter sections based off of the Falken, blue color, and then the front based off the Falken teal, I went ahead and sent a paint sample to 702 Graphics so they could paint, so they can match the vinyl itself. So they ran this through a couple different test runs on their printers, and we're about to find out how well it matches the paint. Hopefully it's a good match. Putting the vinyl wrap and all the sponsor decals on the car is a pretty lengthy process. You just got to be patient and take your time with it. So here's just a little bit of all the stickers that came in. There's a lot more right here, and honestly, I might have to order some more. I make a list of everything I need, and then after I put it on the car, I realize, I'd like to move it a little bit here or there, so I end up maybe peeling one off, or I realize, the size and this is just not quite right where we're putting it on the car. So it's a process for sure, but it ends up looking really good if you take your time on it. Okay, so this is probably the hardest part about wrapping a teal and blue car, is getting the scallops on the car in the right orientation. Not too far forward, not too far back, not too low, not too high. If you get them too low, the scallops run out of space on the wheel well. If you get them too far back or too far forward, the scallops end up impeding on the windshield, or if you get them too far back, they overlap onto the rear window. So yeah, it's a little bit of a balance of putting in the right spot. Luckily, I got a little bit of experience from doing it for many years on this car. So definitely taking those tips that I learned along the way on wrapping my S14, applying to this. This S15 is a little bit different when it comes to wrapping it with scallops, because the body lines are very aggressive. So the S15s have this really cool body line right here in the door that kind of runs slanted down forward. There's also a very faint body line that runs here as well. This also points down a little bit. I think really the body line that is a really good one to follow when you're laying graphics is this one right here. This is kind of the dominant body line. It's the most visually apparent one, and it's really the body line that kind of defines the slope of the actual car, not just like a aesthetic body line to create a more aggressive look. So I'm going to follow that one at the bottom of the door because it truly kind of mimics the angle of the actual chassis. It's not it's actually parallel to the angle of the chassis is what I should say. It's kind of parallel to the actual rocker. So yeah, gotta make sure that this vinyl is angled correctly, that it's in the right position front to back. Use masking tape to hang it, and then I could adjust the height of it, bring the front down up, whichever way I want to do it. After I get the positioning right with the masking tape, I actually cut the masking tape, and when I'm ready to apply the actual wrap, I peel the backing off and I align the tape marks. So after they're cut, I align them back up, and then I know that it is positioned accordingly. I could start actually sticking the vinyl to the chassis itself. And check out that color. That's really not bad for wrap versus paint. I'm sure the wrap will fade a little bit. It'll probably fade a little bit faster than the paint, so it'll actually match even better. The teal is, man, I think it's spot on. All right, so I think I got it lined up pretty good. Time to cut that masking tape. and start wrapping the door. The wrap is on the car, the backing is there. It's all done. I just got to pull it out in the sun and it'll just magically shrink up and just fit the chassis. Perfect. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually a bunch of freaking hellish work. There's a squeegee. I got to find my heat gun and I got to go at it, because what happens here is I laid it on and it's obviously all wrinkly and nasty looking. So I got to squeegee the air out of it. But when you're doing that, sometimes you end up in a pinch where you get like wrinkles. So you use a little bit of heat. Heat usually shrinks up the wrap material. So if you have like wrap material bunching up somewhere in a corner or in a spot where it shouldn't be bunching up, anywhere, use a heat gun to shrink up the wrap, and that kind of saves you. This could get very time consuming and frustrating, but patience is key when you're wrapping a car. All right, so here's where we run into a problem. Here's the door handle, or where it should be, and you can see it's been going really nice and smooth to the edge of the door, all the way to the bottom edge, but we got an excess amount of vinyl right here. So if I just did the same thing with the squeegee here, we would get a fat wrinkle right here. So let's give it a try and see if we could shrink this up. Put this down and work the squeegee, but you get the idea. So keep shrinking it up a little bit, and then I have to quickly grab the squeegee and flatten it out. Look at that. There we go. Sweet. So we just got out of a really potentially hairy situation where we would have had nasty bubbles here, and I went ahead and shrunk up the vinyl, and now it's good all the way out to the edge of the door. So yeah, heat is your friend, but try not to use heat where you have a graphic like this, because you're gonna shrink it and then you're gonna get like a weird pattern in the vinyl. So if you have nice straight edges you gotta follow, just use a squeegee and try not to stretch or shrink the vinyl here. So got a lot more to do. Gotta bleed it down to the side skirt, make sure the door is good all the way up to the edges, but so far so good. So I finished up the doors and they look great. Passenger side is all dialed, so is the driver's side. Man, I'm loving it. This thing's finally looking like a teal and blue car, just like the S14. So the next part is to wrap the roof. We went ahead and cut this hole out in the roof. That's for our vent. So the vent's gonna go here. We're gonna wrap it first and then rivet on the vent. So everything's pre-drilled, pre-cut. This thing's ready to get wrapped. It's getting there. So I got the roof wrap laid down, and this was the hardest part because the scallops have to obviously kind of match up with where the doors are. So we had to run a ruler up and then figure out where the scallops start. And the second hardest part is lining up the scallops centered of the chassis. Man, that took me longer than I'd like to admit, but like I said, I don't wrap cars. I just get it done by taking way too long to do it. But man, this thing's looking good. It's all centered up. It looks great. And I still got some work left. I gotta wrap the C pillars and wrap the A pillars. But man, I think this was the hardest part of the whole entire car. Centering up the roof. Oh man. I'm glad that's done with. So I'm just gonna continue along and hopefully get this thing all wrapped today. All the wrap work is done. That was a lot of work. It took me quite a while to pull off, but man, it's looking really good. So the doors are obviously done. Got the A pillars done, roof, C pillars, even got it all around the windows. So yeah, looking good. Really stoked on it. And I'm really stoked that I had the rest of the car painted, like the bumpers, the fenders, because wrapping those would have been an even bigger nightmare. So stoked on it. Time to put some sponsor decals on this thing, and I gotta put all the rubber trim on it. I took all that off to get the wrap, all the way around where it needs to be. So we're gonna put the trim back in it, the rubber moldings and bolt the body panels back together. I unbolted these so I could wrap it underneath and get like a good margin under here so it overlaps. Yeah, stoked on it. I think that's it for tonight. So that's it for this episode. But on the next episode, we're going to put all the sponsor decals on the car. We're going to roll it outside in the sunlight and get a good view of the whole thing all finished up. And I want to go through all the previous videos and look at the comment section and check out your guys' questions. So please comment below and ask away on any of the things I might have skipped over on the car and some of the stuff that you want to see in detail. I'm going to pick and choose some of the questions that are cool and go through them, answer them on the next episode. So make sure to subscribe. See you next time.